I like how I have both of the cell phone items in the game, and they're pointed at opposite angles, so they're like pointed at each other. And they almost fall directly in line with the X next to my coins. Not perfectly, but almost. Also, where did Wario end up? Okay, yeah, he's like a space away from the star, but also has no coins. No point in calling up Bowser, or anyone else for that matter. Oh my gosh, Mario and Luigi, the people I just kind of completely forgot about because they're sitting off in no man's land. Super rich here. Obviously stealing from the other one that has coins, but I just now realized that since this is a post 3, or 3 and onward, I do my whole everyone has something to lose mechanic, and I totally could have gotten my star stole. Not that I would have, it would have almost certainly been Luigi since he's in second and I'm in third, but I feel a little bit more endangered right now. Just a smidgen. Right, picture imperfect, picture how imperfect this roulette is, except my relatively new method for it makes it slightly easier, but definitely not a for sure thing. Kind of have to get lucky on the last one. Right. Aw, darn it! Oh, wow. Okay, so I did kind of awful on the second to last one, and then got really lucky and came in second. My method is I wait for the one that comes right before the correct one, so I know to press the button, but jumped the gun and underestimated the speed of the roulette wheel there. I need to get myself some cash flow here. Man, maybe I should have given ourselves a couple extra turns, or maybe someone will just happen upon a wacky watch and extend this game a little further, but I go with 15 because that's what adventure mode, or story mode, single player, whatever mode goes with, so that's my thought process behind it at least, and I cannot catch a break here, can I? Just gonna speed these guys up because, well, their turns are kind of unimpactful. Okay. This is a win-win scenario here. Either I win and get money, which it's eyesore, so I probably won't, or I lose, dial up Bowser next turn, get myself a nice payday from him, and I'm like probably within 2 dice block hits of the star, I'd imagine. It's like I do really well in this minigame right up until Pota Booth starts showing up, or Pota-Booths, or whatever you want to call them, and then I just panic and start hitting everything. I'm like, oh no, Pota Booth, run away, quick, run straight into the eye. That is your solution. Okay, wow, I am kind of in shock here. I'll admit, the entire time that minigame was going on, and the entire time I was talking, the back of my head was just going, don't say, wow, I'm doing kind of well. Don't say, wow, I'm doing kind of well. Because you know that it's going to screw you over every single time. But I think I don't think I got hit by Pota Booths ever. I ran straight into the eye, like when the first Pota Booth landed, but aside from that, things are looking up. I'll tell you what's not looking up is the architecture for this particular area, and I also don't like being the log haver because I'm the first person that sees the button, so I have to be quicker on the button presses, but I guess the CPUs are just programmed to press the wrong button every once in a while. I almost never see human players screw up on the axe chopping button action. But here, it happens like every other time, almost. Well, not quite every other time, but I beat them by 3. So, despite my mistake-free actions, they were almost certainly going faster than me, and that's probably what kept the margin of victory relatively low, I suppose. Well, I guess I'm not dialing up Bowser, but you know what? I'm gonna call up Toad and see if my favorite item is in stock. Because if it is, then I can decrease my capital a little bit and make sure I stay out of first place. Because you never know when someone's going to... You know what? I don't feel safe. This is worth the 10 coins, because how easy is it to get to Boo? I believe it's actually quite easy. You just go like here, and then down here, and then... Well, it's hidden, but Boo is like right there. Yeah, so Boo is... Okay, so he's... You kind of have to almost do a full lap to get... Oh my gosh. You almost have to do a full lap to get to him, but he's still not hard to get to, so... For the protection of my star and my future stars, we will play more battle mini-games. That space has been landed on more times than all other spaces in this game combined. Although if I include all spaces, then that doesn't really matter, because that would include, like, all the spaces that have never been landed on. But it's like... Hang on a second, I'm gonna do some math after this minigame. What turn are we on? We're on, like, turn... 6? Yeah, I think we're on turn 6. Let's just assume it's 6. 6 times 4. 24 spaces have been landed on, and I know that this is like the 4th time? Wait, no, maybe 5th time this battle minigame space has been landed on, so, nearly 20% of all the spaces that have been landed on have been this exact battle minigame space. Well, actually, if it really is 5 out of 24, then it's, actually more than that. It's about 20.83%. Those are numbers you can take to the Koopa Bank. Yeah, that's something I'd say. And, oh man, really? I get Boo and I still have to go first? No one has hit a Bowser. What are the odds of hitting Bowser? I should have been doing that math instead of how often the battle minigame space gets landed on. Yeah, I knew the odds weren't in my favor. I think the hard computers just memorized where everything was. Also, were we out of Toads at the end? I think we might have been out of Toads at the end. But hey, at least now I have a solution to the whole let's make sure I'm not in first place so I don't get stole from strategy. Maybe that wasn't the smartest move after all, but... yeah. The idea of spending 5 coins on a... cellular shopper and not buying anything when using it is kind of hard to swallow, so I had to buy something. Sheep, don't hit me! Man, I knew as soon as I started talking I would start to screw up. I think I have to pretty much be going at full speed. Like, I was actually doing really well there. I was going full speed, no screw-ups, and then, like, in the water, and then, oh hey, the computers have already finished the minigame. Wait for me, fellas! This probably is one of my favorite character configurations in Mario Party 3, just because I think it's cool to have a full party of newsboy, cap-wearing, overalled-up plumbing brothers with mustaches. That was a really roundabout way to describe the characters currently on screen, but whatever. Maybe the other reason I bought the Blu-ray was just to see that awesome animation that is, like, super rare because you never see it because no one ever buys Boo away. Also, what's the point of going this way? Absolutely nothing. Wait, didn't I have the option to go up that way a while ago? I don't even remember, but I'm bleeding coins now, and I don't like that at all. What turn are we on? Okay, so we were actually on turn 7 back then, so my math might be a little off, but I'm not gonna redo it. You guys can redo it at home if it's that important to you. Hyper hydrants, okay. Competitive firefighting at its finest. Which does remind me, recently started listening to this history podcast called The Dollop. It's basically just a couple of comedians reading an underappreciated, hilarious news story from a lot of times it'll be like the 1800s in America, but it'll be different eras, but it's mostly as American history. Anyways, they were going over the history of some of the earliest fire departments, most of which were volunteer-based. And a lot of times the fire departments were basically set up and run by gangs who would frequently get into firefighting wars and purposefully set buildings on fire so they could take credit for putting the fire out. And they'd also be the type of people who would kind of be like, hey, nice house. Would be a shame if it burned down, because if it does burn down and you haven't paid up, then we won't come and put it out. Which I think is actually a thing that either did exist recently, or I seem to have remembered reading about it somewhere. Like, if you didn't pay a certain tax or whatnot, the fire department would just flat out ignore you even if your house was on fire. Maybe that's just something someone told me on the internet and I believed them because I didn't feel like looking it up at the time, but it sounds believable at least. Also more battle mini-games, and at least our Treachery will be short. I don't know what word I was searching for there. I was just hanging on Treachery for a couple of seconds, so I just went with it. Well, we know Mario's out, so now I only have to beat 2 people. Come on, Purple. Why do you put me in suspense like winning? I don't know how much that money that battle game was worth, but I know it was a lot. I am so glad I won that. I wonder if the computers were about as on edge as I was. Probably not, because they're computers. They are unfeeling robotic androids, except for the fact that they're actually just pieces of code inside of a Nintendo 64 cartridge, but you get what I mean.